Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're in your 30s right now, you already know it's a completely chaotic squeeze. You're juggling mortgages, maybe chasing a couple of kids around, and suddenly you're also trying to look after aging parents. It really feels like your wallet is just constantly being pulled in a dozen different directions. But today, we're going to clear out all that noise. We're going to distill 9 really dense financial milestones into one empowering playbook that's going to have you completely, totally financially sound by age 40. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this massive number right here, $700. That is the actual average monthly payment for a new car in America today. Think about that. That is a massive, heavy weight dragging down your absolute prime earning years. And it's exactly the kind of financial baggage we need to eliminate in this decade. So, to get us there, we've organized our playbook into 4 clear sections: building the financial foundation, mastering financial defense, accelerating your wealth, and finally, protecting your legacy. Let's jump right in.
Part 1. Build foundation. Clear past debts.
Okay, let's dive into this. Your very first milestone is targeting exactly $0 in consumer debt. We're talking credit card debt, student loans, and yep, ideally, getting rid of that crazy $700 car payment. Now, your mortgage, that actually gets a pass. That's a battle for your 40s and 50s. But clearing your consumer debt lowers your personal burn rate, which gives you total flexibility for when life inevitably throws surprises at you. For instance, think about those aging parents we mentioned. Say you have a stubborn dad who insists on trying to DIY a totally clogged sink when he really shouldn't be. Having 0 consumer debt frees up the cash flow you need to just swoop in, hire a plumber, and fix the problem without completely stressing out your own budget. Milestone number 2 is securing an excellent credit score, ideally above an 800. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why. Notice the comparison here for $400,000 mortgage spread over 30 years. On the left, an excellent score gets you a 6.5% interest rate, costing about $510,000 in total interest. On the right, a slightly worse credit score bumps you up to just 7%. Honestly, it sounds tiny, but that little 0.5% difference, it costs you an extra $48,000 over the life of the loan. And protecting that great score requires absolute, utter vigilance, which brings us to this shocking number. One single payment that slips over 30 days late can literally tank a great credit score by up to 180 points. Even worse, it can haunt your credit report for up to 7 years. It can drop you from a stellar 780 down to a 600 in the blink of an eye. Seriously, pay your bills on time every single time.
Moving right along to Part 2. Master defense. Protect your wealth.
This perfectly leads us to milestone number 3, the evolution of your emergency fund. Back in your 20s, having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up was a pretty great foundation. But look at the growth required in your 30s. We really want to push that bar out to 12 months on the conservative side. Why? Well, because the pressure is just higher now. Kids need unexpected medical surgeries, water heaters randomly burst, and life just gets, way more complicated. You need deep, liquid cash reserves in a high-yield savings account to weather these much bigger storms. Now, I completely get it. Staring down a 12-month emergency fund is incredibly daunting. It's a huge number. That is exactly why you need this psychological hack. Don't look at it as needing to suddenly save $20,000 all at once. Just don't. Break it down. Try to save just $1,000 every couple of months. Tackling it in these bite-sized chunks makes a massive goal feel highly attainable.
Milestone 4 is avoiding lifestyle inflation. This quote from the classic book The Millionaire Next Door captures it perfectly. Accumulating wealth is absolutely anchored by your defense. So the crucial point is, the greatest accumulators of wealth keep their living expenses low even as their incomes skyrocket.
Because without defense, you fall straight into the high-income trap. I mean, there are professionals out in San Francisco making $500,000 a year, which is fantastic offense. But if they're turning right around and spending $450,000 of that income just to keep up appearances, driving the fancy cars, living in the ultra-expensive communities, they are practically living paycheck to paycheck. Doctors, lawyers, you name it. They make these massive salaries but accumulate almost zero actual wealth because their defense is fundamentally broken. All right, Part 3, accelerate wealth. Switch to offense. Milestone 5 is basically your wealth-building North Star for this entire decade. By the time you reach age 40, you want to have 3 times your annual salary saved up for retirement.
Let's actually walk through the math on this to see the real magic of compounding. The average salary for someone in the US at age 40 is about $62,000. So if we hit our 3x milestone, that means we have $186,000 saved by age 40. Now, because you hit this milestone early, that money has 25 plus years left to compound. Using standard investment projections, that $186,000 can grow to an incredible $2.11 million by age 67. Hitting this mark in your 30s literally sets you up for a totally stress-free retirement.
To ensure you actually hit that math, Milestone 6 is building a master financial plan for the next 30 years. A great framework to use here is the Brett Plan. B is for budgeting and saving to hit your goals. R is for retirement planning to know exactly how far along you are. E is for estate planning. And T is for tax strategies to keep way more of what you earn. Look, if looking at this list feels overwhelming, this is exactly the milestone where you might want to bring in a pro. Hire a professional financial planner to put this whole thing together for you.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our final section. Part 4, Protect Legacy, Secure Family Future.
Milestone 7 is kind of an indirect monetary goal, but honestly, it might be the most important one on the list. Investing in your longevity. Because seriously, what good is having $2 million in retirement if your body isn't healthy enough to walk around and actually enjoy it? In our 30s, our metabolism starts slowing down. We can't just sprint into a workout without a warm-up anymore without blowing our backs out. We have to prioritize healthy habits, regular exercise, and yeah, maybe skipping the Friday night ice cream and alcohol. Investing in your physical health right now saves you massive medical bills later and ensures you actually get to enjoy the wealth you're working so hard to build. Milestone 8 is developing an estate plan. Now listen, if you have kids or any real assets, this is 100% non-negotiable. You need to designate a legal guardian. But the good news? It is so much easier than you think. You don't necessarily need a fancy lawyer right out of the gate. You can literally just go online, download a basic living will template, edit it with your own preferences, and then walk into a local UPS store to get it notarized. That simple, basic paperwork goes a remarkably long way in protecting your family if the unthinkable happens.
And finally, Milestone 9, starting a 529 plan for your kids. This is hands down the ultimate educational investment vehicle because of its incredible tax powers. You can get state income tax deductions just for putting money in, and all the withdrawals and earnings completely tax-free as long as they're used for education. If one kid decides not to use it all, no problem, you can transfer it to a sibling. You can even roll it over to yourself for lifelong education expenses. Heck, you can even set this whole shebang up before your kids are even born. It's that flexible.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this direct challenge. Take a hard look at your own 30s financial playbook. Are you playing a good financial defense? When you look at these 9 milestones, where do you stand? Are you on pace? Are you pulling ahead? Or do you have a little catching up to do? Take an audit of your foundation this week and start aggressively planning for that 40th birthday. Thanks so much for learning with us, and we'll see you in the next explainer.